Hi everyone and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about 4 things to do after your MSW degree. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, number 1, know your licensing requirements. It can be so daunting to read up about the licensing requirements and to know what the requirements are for your state, but at the end of the day, it can be so helpful to know exactly what those are. If you can't find the information or it's hard to understand through your state board, the ASWB also has some great resources around licensure. And you can also look for some of the nonprofit websites or your local NASW state chapter that also a lot of times gives you the licensing requirements in a way that's easy to understand. If license stuff isn't your thing, it's important to know what specifically your options are and if you need it to get a job. Some states have title protection for social workers. So in order to be a social worker in that certain state, you have to have a license. So those are some things that you need to be aware of, especially as you're looking for a new job or looking to change careers after your MSW and wanting to be in the field of social work. So knowing what your state requirements are and what the next steps are in the process can help you make the best decision when it comes to jobs and what direction you want to go in. Secondly, make a decision. So, social work is a very broad and diverse field. There are lots of different settings that you can find yourself working in. So, decide which one is the best fit for you. So, micro, do you want to work with individuals? Meso level practice, do you want to work with a school, with hospitals, or even on the legal team or in forensic social work in some capacity? Or are you more interested in macro level practice? And these things can include advocacy, politics, or policies. So think about what types of populations that you want to work with and what brings you the most fulfillment and the most value. A lot of times, settings such as hospital work, school, or even working in forensic settings can be really stable, and there's usually always some type of social work position available. Macro level positions aren't always titled as social work, so sometimes you have to get a little bit creative when it comes to searching for job titles and looking for macro level positions. Sometimes they come with different labels. Sometimes it's a manager, sometimes it's some type of care or community consultant. They can use different titles and they can require different types of degrees. So read the descriptions in the job summaries if you're interested in going into macro social work or looking for a position, or if you're looking for a position in that area. Thirdly, you need to find a mentor, a coach, or a supervisor. Social work, by its nature, is really social. And there are so many things that you can learn as you go. And having somebody in your life that can give you some additional insight and direction on what steps to take next can be incredibly helpful and save you a lot of time and money. Finding a mentor, somebody who can sign off on your clinical hours, or even somebody that you can talk to about this is the direction I want to go in my career, and this is how I want to get there. They can give you tips and tricks for success that can save you a lot of time, but also give you a lot of value. And it's also important to foster any relationships that you have with your colleagues. Many times when you're a new graduate, your colleagues may have been in the field for longer. So be open to building some of those work related relationships with colleagues and finding out more about the job, find out more about their experience, and keep those relationships open, and don't burn any bridges, even as you decide if you decide to go to a new position. So, fourth, think about the future. So, if you find yourself wanting to do more contract work, if you're interested in opening a private practice at some point down the line, it's always a good idea to know what your state regulations are around creating an LLC or whatever the state equivalent is for private practice. You want to think about retirement. Are you investing a certain percentage of your income into a certain type of fund? When you do get a full time job, what are the retirement benefits? What are the benefits in general? Does the job offer tuition reimbursement? Do they offer paid supervision so that you can gain hours towards your license? Think about all the benefits that a potential job offers and remember to ask questions if you have um, any concerns about what that looks like. You also need to be mindful of continuing education. As social workers, we need to embrace being lifelong learners, and continuing education can help add to our current knowledge base so that we can become more competent as providers. So take note of some continuing education opportunities that are available in your area, and take advantage of increasing your knowledge in maybe a specialty or area of social work that you don't know as much about. Also, keep in mind that because social work is so broad, a lot of times you're going to find the most success if you have some type of specialty or niche. And a lot of times you can do that through additional certifications, whether it's with a therapeutic modality, whether it's some type of social work. There are certifications that can increase your marketability as a social worker and also increase your compensation because you have a specialty in that specific area. Think about some of your educational aspirations. Do you plan to go back to school to get a DSW or PhD or a doctorate in some other field? If you have educational aspirations and you plan to continue your education, it's really going to be to your advantage to look for jobs that offer some type of tuition reimbursement. A lot of times, those jobs tend to be in healthcare settings where they offer some type of incentive if employees are willing to go back to school and get a degree. A lot of times, there is some type of stipulation that they have to stay in that job for a certain number of years, but it's a great way to get an additional degree paid for if that's something that's part of your plan for the future. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this has helped you get some additional information. Please be sure to like and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.